I've already done the intro, blah blah blah, yada yada yada.
Old jingle. Do. Welcome to the podcast. PGE, V, Panda, and Prince.
Okay, all right. So I'm leaving that in. What's up, everybody? Look. I promised you. I told you we are gonna have some fun. And I've got two gentlemen on here today, you guys. We've got some. We have a trio of your normal Lem guy, and then two amazing streamer friends. And most of the people that I'm having on, I've known for a little while, but I would say I think I have not even known you guys for a year yet, and you guys are a big part of my life, and I appreciate you. I want you guys to welcome Mr. Fatewalker and Mr.
Hi.
BrofessorPanda.
Oh, hi.
Oh my goodness. How are you guys?
Super duper fantastic from my end. It's Tuesday, almost ready for the weekend.
How you feeling, Panda?
Hey, as happy as a panda could be. Glad to be here. Appreciate you having us on here.
Look, you guys, I don't know if I've said it out loud enough, but you guys have influenced the last, I want to say, at least 6 to 8 months of my life and my streaming, and it's an honor to have you guys here. The positivity that you guys bring to Twitch, your communities. I mean, I've got people in your community showing up in my streams that are just freaking amazing and just hanging out and dealing with my ADHD butt and like, I know that we have fairly different streams, but everybody just works well together. And I just want everybody to get to know you guys. Panda, tell everybody about you.
Oh.
Yeah, he
Make
wasn't
you're
ready
wearing your
for it.
glasses. Panda, make sure your glasses are on. Make sure your glasses on before you go into it.
He wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, no, you're fine. What? I don't know what the panda would say. I guess just I guess the best way to start this is I pretty adamant that I have no idea what I'm doing in the midst of all this. But when we walked into this, I guess first and foremost, variety. We do variety content, and we're actually just coming up to 5 years now that we've been doing this. And when we started, it was kind of by accident. Like I didn't have any experience or any awareness at all of the content creation space in any shape, form, or fashion. I'd never watched streaming. I'd watch YouTube videos, but that was kind of the extent of it. And I met Mr. Fatewalker here, and he had mentioned about Twitch and Mixer at the time, and kind of just like the platform for it, because we met through Dungeons and Dragons. And I was what brought me to D&D originally was I was very adamant about trying to find mediums that I can help not just tell stories, but try to find mediums to inspire others, to lift others up, to provide a space that wasn't just comfortable, but was one that somebody left even on the worst of a day feeling better, right? And Fate was like, you should try content creation. And we booted up with a laptop and a lamp for a light one day, and here we are 5 years later. So I think that's the best way to segue into if I were to describe who I am and what we do. We content creation is what we do, yes, but I think we like to promote what I call panda positivity, which is a form of almost altruistic support and combining the chaos and the fun that gaming that we have, but interlining it with a medium that allows us to inspire others to kind of continue to move forward and give that comfortably chaotic but also environment that it celebrates inclusivity and diversity in a healthy and the right way, at least that we strive to do, right?
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
that's probably that's probably more wordy AF than you wanted, but that's probably the best way I can describe what we do and who I am.
Nah, man, that's perfect. No, it's I, what I found over the past couple of episodes, and there's only been two, but the past couple of episodes, is that there's not really a format, and
That's true.
and I like it. I like that
Yeah.
there's not a format. We have to have some sort of, okay, this is our starting point, and I think that, asking, who you guys are, to introduce yourself just a little bit, was a good starting point. But yeah, I don't think we need to have a format. Fatewalker or Fatewalker. Fatewalker. Fate Walker. Walker.
Waka.
Waka. Waka.
Waka, waka, waka.
Yes. Fate, tell us about you. What's up?
Oh man. Okay, so my streaming career started much like with how my starting my life with my partner. I can't tell you when I started streaming. I know about roughly. I started in 2015. I remember I got stationed in Washington for my job, and I remember streaming out of a hotel on an Xbox, and streaming Destiny 1. So I've been streaming since Destiny 1, inspired by King Gothalion. Was a huge fan and loved everything he does, which is a little bit of why I wear a lot of the Hawaiian t-shirts I do, outside of the fact that I'm in Florida now. But before, when I started wearing Hawaiian t-shirts, I was in Georgia, and I like to pay a little bit of homage to the person who kind of sort of got me addicted to wanting to do streaming. And so 2015, variety content creation. I started Destiny, Overwatch. Was very thought I was good. Very very not good. And I've grown my community really slowly. I am here to help people learn about whatever it is that I'm playing. I tend to like to analyze a lot of the games that I play and try to give feedback and try to optimize as much as I can. I don't min-max in the sense of, this is how you do 12,000 damage and the best damage in the world. But I like to go, here's how you can get to pretty much in-game high-end pretty quickly, efficiently, with the least amount of time, because what we're going to be talking about later in the podcast, with juggling games, I don't have a lot of time. I'm a part-time streamer. I'm not full-time, so I've got a job that I have to balance, and I like to make sure that I can experience the games as much as I can with as little effort to have to put into them that I can. So I try to have that efficiency, and I try to explain that efficiency to people as they come in and go, hey, what's going on with this game? And that's sort of where I'm at. Met Panda. We ventured over to Mixer.
That's me.
I was a little bit of a wild, loose cannon. I'm still there sometimes. I used to have a crazy temper when I was playing FPS. League, Overwatch, those can bring it out of
Oh my
play them
gosh.
a lot, right?
Yes.
And
that's the reason I don't stream Overwatch. Is because
Yeah,
I don't
well,
like who I am when I play it.
That's when the elite comes out.
you need to play it with Panda. You need to play it with Panda. If you don't like who you are when you play Overwatch, play it with Panda. You'll be a different person.
We have a good time.
Panda has tempered me.
Yeah.
Meeting him here has really evolved my my streaming platform. I went off the rails a lot, really angry, got temperamental, and then the stream wasn't really fun to watch, and he tempered me, and then I ended up able to focus on let's do what I'm passionate about, and that's helping people.
Yeah.
At least in like a technical aspect, on trying to help do best with your time.
Yeah.
So and then I just a variety. I'm all over the place. I tend to try to pick up games that are fairly recently popular or about to come out popular. So because I want to tackle them, try to find an efficient way to do things, and provide that information to people as they come in.
Yeah.
So I don't really grow my community often. Though I'm starting with the new Twitch thing. I'm starting to think about throwing my Twitch clips up because it's really easy to turn your clips into TikTok and short form content, which
Absolutely it is.
probably the best place to go right now for growing.
Yeah. My TikTok lately has been Overwatch content, and it might be misleading.
Yeah.
That's how you get them.
It might be misleading.
You come in here for Overwatch, surprise.
Surprise, Disney Dreamlight Valley.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah, that's.
So did you both start on Mixer?
I started on Twitch in 2015, and then when I met Panda and Panda started, I decided to start over on Mixer. So I left Twitch. Right as I got affiliate, I left Twitch to go to Mixer and start over.
Man.
Kind of sort of just redesigned myself. So when Mixer eventually fell through and I came back to Twitch, I was a different person than when I was when I left. So yeah.
Okay. Because like I definitely learned a lot about streaming from watching people on Mixer. Like and the Mixer community at that time was so different than the Twitch community. Like
without a doubt,
Twitch was very ragey, very or I'm the best. Look at me. And Mixer was like, "Hey y'all want to play some video games?"
I will always say that's probably both the best gift and the double-edged sword that I was given starting this journey. Because when we started, I started on Mixer, and I didn't know anything going into this. So that Mixer community that you're talking about, that was my introduction to what streaming was.
Yes.
So I was overblown with like the vibe that came with it because because like I said, Fate built the train track. I sat down on it, and just once we started, it just took off. Like the vibe that Mixer was, especially at that time that you're talking about, was the perfect place for doing what we were trying to do. So it was like I still look back fondly on that. But that was also, when I say also the double-edged sword, leaving that and coming to Twitch, it was just such a culture shock because I was so used to that being the norm. And I will always preface, because of both of you being perfect examples, that still exists in the Twitch realm, but Twitch is so much more of a massive monster that can exist but still be its own silo.
Yeah.
Like you have pockets of communities and places like and even like I think you even mentioned it best earlier, BG, that by the way, sorry, context for podcast purposes. Is BG the preferred, like, what is the naming convention to go by? Because I don't want to be booked by here. I didn't realize I'm like, people will be like, look, who's he talking to?
No. It does not matter. People call me BGE. People call me Lem, Bad Gamer.
Okay.
Look, it doesn't matter. They know who you're talking about. They know who you're talking to.
Okay. All right, cool. So Lim, perfect. I was like, I just don't want to be like, who's he talking about?
Just gonna go out on a limb here.
There it is. But you mentioned earlier about how there are you see familiar faces that maybe come from the Panda Nation or come from over on Fate side as well, that you'll see in like that will stop in and visit and vibe, and like that right there, like the cross community experience, like that is what Mixer was on a much grander scale. So you still see that, but it's on such a smaller scale, and you have to be careful because depending on where you go and where you find yourself, not everybody shares that same desire and experience and that community, that they don't expect that, nor do they want it. And
Right.
and again, everybody takes their own, but I very much adhere, like that's something that we've had to learn, and we've been burned by it before as well as a part of it, because we just make the assumption that everybody is out to basically have a supportive space, and that is
Right.
definitely not the case.
Yeah.
So
I know that I went through some growing pains with a few folks that by taking you guys as example, I honestly this is what did it. I was like, oh, you don't have to have a bunch of evil trolls in the chat. Okay, we're not doing that anymore.
exactly.
And
exactly.
not everyone took well to that, and so there are some faces that I don't see anymore. But what I've gotten from even some of my friends that were heavy trollers that have stopped doing it because we're friends first, they say that they enjoy the streams so much more.
Good.
And so, how what if you had to give the top 3 things to help bring that positivity, bring that cool vibe, no matter what game you're playing, whether it's what's the one you play? Fate something human, almost human,
Once human.
once human,
Once human.
once human, or Final Fantasy 14, or
I play Dark Souls.
Ooh, whoa.
And I make it positive.
Oh man, I don't know if I would have enjoyed Elden Ring without Panda.
What? Insert Doctor Strange teach me meme. What? Okay, so 3 things. Let's say that I'm listening and I've got I don't want to say toxic, but it's a sharp edge group of people in my chat, and I want them to make sure that if they got frustration, they're taking it out when they play the games, not on people and me in the stream. What are the 3 things that I need to do?
Faye, you start us off.
So we're looking for frustrations that people have about the game while you're playing it.
No, like that. Like I have the you have those folks that are coming from the other side of Twitch, where they're not used to that. We're actually here to vibe and have fun and build a community, but they're used to trolly.
The trolls.
Yeah.
So are we talking about a streamer? Or are we talking about a chatter?
Let's say, what can I do as a streamer or a mod even?
Okay.
Like somebody on that side of it to help bringing that product to the viewer.
So I learned this from Panda. This is a key thing that I learned from Panda. Never assume someone is being a toxic troll off the bat when they say something. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, that came off this way. Is this how you meant it? Can I and dig down into the statement that they stated. Give them a chance to respond. Maybe they said something. Maybe they didn't mean it that way.
Yeah.
If they did mean it that way, get rid of them. Right? That's how you're going to foster it. You're going, hey, this sounded this way. Doesn't sound quite right. Is this how you meant it? Can you rephrase it a little bit? If someone comes in and says, hey, this gun sucks. I was like, yeah, the gun's not for everybody. I understand you're a little bit passionate about it, but there's some people that enjoy it. What is it about the gun that you don't like? What gun do you like? Maybe start making it more about trying to find their passion and turning on them and making them feel accepted. Oh, I like this gun. Oh, yeah, that's not quite the gun that I enjoy playing in Once Human, but I can see why a lot of people like it. There are plenty of guys out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of sort of be open that maybe people are coming in and they're toxic because they're hurting, and then trying to find a way to make them unhurt. Right, and
it's
a lot of times
the thorn in the paw, like that old Aesop's favorite, thorn in the paw.
Very much so.
Like mad lion, take out the thorn. Now I'm happy lion.
Yeah,
yeah, and sometimes they just want to be acknowledged, and if you've got the time while you're playing to acknowledge them, you could make someone a more permanent person of your community, or at least give someone a better day at the end of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I call it troll rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So you turn them from Tolkien trolls into Justin Timberlake trolls.
Bingo. Bingo.
Okay. All right. I like it. Anything else? What are you thinking, Panda?
I think the one thing that I've always, and again, I always preface before I say anything. I have no idea what the bamboo I'm doing, so you have to take
Huge.
everything take everything with a grain of salt there, because I have no idea what's going on. But I always, if there was any piece of advice I would probably offer, the two things, especially going into places like I played Dark Souls for the first time on stream, not realizing what I was walking into, not just from a game perspective, but a community as well.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I just completely like
Yeah.
went from just the Fortnite into this, and it was like, oh, this is different. And now it's one of my absolute favorite experiences to date, hands down.
Okay, hold on.
And so,
Can we rewind for just a second?
yeah, absolutely.
You went from Fortnite
Yep.
to
And
Dark
Minecraft
Souls.
to Dark
Yeah.
Souls.
To
Yep.
Dark Souls.
Yep.
Okay, so what? To sum up the Dark Souls community, hit me with that, because I'm familiar
Yeah.
with the Fortnite community, but
Okay.
yeah.
So so it was one of the most interesting and self-reflective experiences I've had, because one of the major things from the Souls like community is the concept of get good. Like if you are not succeeding, if you are finding yourself hitting a wall, not being able to progress, the answer 9 out of 10 times you're going to hear is just get good. You just got to get good. And like that was that was a lot of the experience with a lot of folks coming in from that community. Is it was a very brutalizing kind of, because the games are brutalizing, they can
Yeah.
be. However, and I promise I won't get on this box, because I actually I have a very weird perspective on Souls games, because I stand by that. I think Dark Souls is one of the most positive reinforcing games you can play, and the reason I say that is the whole get good concept. I think when you put a lens on it, you can look at it in a different way, because the whole point of the game is you're faced with a challenge, you're faced with a boss, you are overcoming an impossible obstacle. That's the entire premise of the game. You try again, but eventually you're gonna get there. You learn the right ways to move, you learn the right abilities to play, when's the right time to dodge, what to look for. You take time and you reflect on what's coming at you. And when you understand it and you finally beat that boss, you finally pass that thing you were stuck on, the euphoria you get from that feeling of, I did this, I put the time in, I made that step forward. It's such a reassuring and satisfying feeling. And if there's anything that's reflective, in my opinion, of like, if you set a goal, if you move forward that day, like the feeling of satisfaction you should have by hitting those small milestones, by making it through the day, that feeling that game can pull out of you is how you should feel about every day. And I'm like, it's such a great way for somebody that maybe has never really thought about like what moving forward is, taking a step forward, the importance and the impact that can have, and how you should really think about, like, even if it doesn't feel like you're making any accomplishments, you make it through the day is one, how that can make you and how it should make you feel. I feel like Dark Souls is a game that can put that emotion at the forefront and make you realize like how good that can feel. And I think that, to me, when the quote unquote the get good that I'm referencing is, in another term, getting good is learning how to move forward the right way. And I think that was what, and it ties back to answering the point that when you walk into a new game or you walk into a new environment that you may not be familiar with, it's always important to remember to take time that it may take time for you to understand what's that right move, what's that right way for you to fit into that community, and more importantly, to bring yourself into it, because it's not about changing who you are for that game or for that community or for how you want to stream. It's about how do you make it work for you? How do you find the right way for it to align to you and how you do things? I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the way I've always looked at it.
It 1000% makes sense. I just watched, I believe it was a Viva La Dirt video on Get Good, and you summed up basically what he said. Like, there was this guy, he was talking to this other player who's been a mentor to him, right? And he's like, every time I ask, everybody just says, get good, get good, get good. And it's so frustrating. I'm just gonna quit. He was like, well, let's take a look back look at your gear. What gear do you have? He had this decent level gear or whatever, right?
Right.
And he says, how did you get that? He's like, well, I had to do this, and I had to do that, and I had to do this, and I had to do that. It's like, yeah. Did you do that the first time? No,
Yeah.
I had to keep practicing. Yeah. You had to get good to get what you have now. Just like you want to get that, you have to get good to get that. So you keep working so you get good.
So just to highlight the original question here on how Panda disarms people. His initial statement, every statement. When you watch him play a Souls game, I cannot tell you how much I have sat there and I have yelled, going, Panda, do not use a melee weapon against a guy who is flying. Panda, don't do this. Panda, that is a leather boot. You can't use it as a fist weapon. And 3 hours later, he's killed the boss with a gosh darn leather boot. And I go in there, I go, why did you do that? And his opening statement, almost every time anybody new comes in or anybody questions why he did that, is, I'm just a panda. I don't know what I'm doing. And at that point in time, you take so much wind out of everybody's sails to yell at him about how he used his left pinky toe to take out the boss that took you 12 hours to do, and he's done it in 3. But he lives by this, I'm just a panda, I don't know what I'm doing. And it disarms so many people out of the gate that they can't troll as easily.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm just a panda. I don't know what I'm doing. I actually, and when you say that, I actually, there are people that, well, like my friends will be like, hey, Lem, I beat your score in Fortnite Festival. I was like, so you started the game?
Yeah.
You beat my score. It's in my name. I'm the best at being the worst. So
That's
I
right.
get
That's right.
I get it. That's awesome.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I remember so Panda prefers the get over obstacle, move on type games, where I very much enjoy, like Monster Hunters, where it's learn the obstacle and then farm the obstacle. And I remember playing Monster Hunter with Panda, and I remember going, Panda, you need to dodge that wing attack. And he's like, but I've got these health potions. I could just drink this health potion. I'm like, those are for emergencies, Panda. He's like, it's okay. And then he kills the guy, and I'm just like, how can I yell at him?
I was like,
because we've defeated the boss.
I always giggle because I'll never forget. There were 2 things and there was a time in Elden Ring this happened. There was a boss that Fate got stuck on as well.
Y'all should see Fate's face right now.
It made me laugh because it was like, no, that's not that's not how you do it, right? You need save your health potions for this and all this. And I mean, I'm just walking in shirtless with the giant Oonga Boonga weapon. Like, you know what? It's fine. We'll figure it out. So I just and then I find my way. It may not be the right way, but I found my way.
Hey, Panda, you know you're wearing an amulet where you take extra damage from the boss. Oh, that'll be all right. That's okay. That's okay. I don't need a shirt. I just and I think a lot of people who watch him when he plays these games, what brings people to this Dark Souls Panda experience is the fact that you're never going to watch another player beat a boss any other way. No one will replicate how Panda beats a boss. He will just do it the way he has, and he like throws away. Hey, I've got this Master Ball in Pokemon. Let me go catch this I don't know,
a common one,
Weeping Bell. like just something. Oh, did I use it?
I'm not gonna use it.
I'm not gonna use it. And then they're like, "Oh, there's a Zapdos." Well, Panda, we wish you had kept your Master Ball. Oh man, and I don't have any other balls. I just have this Pokeball. Bloop, blink, 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 blink. Oh, I caught a Zapdos. And you're like, no, you don't do that, Panda. And he just does. He just does. like that is, and everybody in chat has had that moment with him where they're like, don't know, no, Panda, and then he does, and you're like,
I am so glad I don't understand the games you play, Panda.
Yeah.
Watching him play Dark Souls is a freaking experience, man. It is. And then and what, like, he transformed, like, the whole reason I played Elden Ring was because I learned to laugh at my failures. I learned to find the comedy in what I have done wrong and enjoy my triumphs more.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
See,
Exactly.
When you can find the comedic value in your failures because you're progressing yourself, because every failure makes you more likely to succeed. If you can find that comedic value in it, it takes so much out of those toxic players' things, and they're like, I can't laugh at the guy who's laughing with me.
Yep.
You know, like, so.
Oh my
I
god.
like to call it fail forward, because you fail forward in Dark Souls. You fail until you succeed.
But you do, though. Like everything in life that you do, if you fail,
Exactly.
you've learned something. As long as you learn something from the failure, you have moved yourself forward, whether it's an inch or a foot. If you fail and you've learned something, you've become better.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how Dark Souls became the most positive game ever.
So a couple of things there. You talk about failing and laughing at yourself, and laughing, not just laughing at yourself, laughing with others at you.
Laughing
right?
at your situation.
Yeah,
You're not really
well,
laughing at yourself.
But at the situation. That right there is the essence of my degree. I have a degree in comedy through Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College. And that is the essence of what clowning is. A ridiculous situation. You're basically a cartoon. You're a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You take your situation and you are either Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. Those are the two those are the two archetypes. As a clown, you are either Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. And Daffy was my favorite because he failed forward. I'm using it. He failed forward.
Yep.
Right? And I'm finding just that's actually my style of gaming right now. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Help me. What do you mean I was supposed to keep that and I won't get another one for however long?
Yep.
Oh well, I'll just make do without it.
Let's see what happens.
F's in chat for Panda is literally people just saying moving is forward. That's Panda sees F's in chat and it's like forward. Look how many forwards I got. Right? Like, That's F's in chat.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, lately I've been playing. I was playing. I think I found Fate with New World, and I tried New World,
Yep.
and it did not work for me.
Mm.
Like my video card wasn't good enough, and then it. But then I also wasn't really feeling the game, and I was like, "But I like this guy. I'm gonna see what else he's playing." And he started playing this game, Honkai Star Rail.
Oh.
And I found him playing that, and he has fueled my addiction to that for well over a year and change now.
But I like you got everyone that comes in when I'm playing a gacha game. Everyone who comes in asks me about a gacha game every time. You will not get more of a warning than I will going. Look, be careful what you do. I will tell you as much information I can. I cannot make the decision for you, but just know the design of the game is to take your money. I'm going to tell you how not to. It might not feel good sometimes, but this is how you don't lose your money, but can still play the game.
And he has saved me so much money. Now that's not to say I haven't done. That's not to say I haven't done battle passes, because I have.
Right.
But that's me just taking it away from another battle pass that I was going to use it for.
And there's nothing wrong to spend money, but make sure you spend money not to just spend money. Make sure you spend money because you're either trying to say thank you, devs.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed what I've played. Here's some money. Or I really like this thing they're giving me. I do not plan on putting that thing down for months. I am going to get my money's worth out of that thing.
Yeah.
And it's done in moderation, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the
Unless you have the
exception,
money.
with the exception, unless you don't have Natasha, everybody needs Natasha because she's the best.
You get
Natasha
Natasha
for free.
Yeah.
My point remains valid. We're good. That's the only person you need in the game. So there you go.
But we're not going to talk about telling Panda, no, don't do that, when we have like a $375 loot crate in Once Human, and he's like 3 pulls in and gets the freaking motorcycle that everyone spent almost $300 for. We're not going to talk about that luck.
Face still upset about that one.
I didn't get Topaz and Dumby, by the way. So today on my stream, I said, if I don't get Topaz and Numby, I'm not streaming Honkai Star Rail anymore. I'm still going to play it. But I'm just not going to stream it anymore. We didn't get her, so Honkai Star Rail is off the roster for stream games.
I really think you need to only have, like, if you're a streamer, you only really need to have one gacha game that you're streaming. Unless you are a gacha streamer. If you decide to do variety gacha, then have multiple. But if you are just a variety streamer, try not to have more than one gacha game. One gacha, because they're there to suck your time.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and you have a lot more games to play if you're a variety streamer.
Yeah. But that was my first point. Was I want to talk about the gacha stuff real quick. But then you also you are the second person. The episode I'm about to reference hasn't come out yet, but by the time this comes out, it will have been. Our friend Solnix has highly encouraged me to try Elden Ring.
Oh.
He said it is a game that he thinks I'm going to love as far as the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
He says that the struggle and the building of your character is something that he sees in me that I would love. And he even suggested that I play it and not stream it.
Well, one thing that I will say for sure to give some reassurance on that, I never think you should stream it. I adamantly think you should, because not only do I think you will enjoy it, it is a game I think you will enjoy. You enjoy with your community because of the experience that comes with it. But Elden Ring did something that I think Dark Souls didn't have before. and it was introduce a new player friendly format to the concept. Elden Ring is one of the most is one of the friendliest I've never done Souls like before experiences, hands down. The way that they introduce it and everything else is just, I think it's done extremely well, and I think it's a great one for you to start with, and I think the experience that you will have along the way, not just with your community, but just the getting those accomplishments and doing that as a community achievement,
Yeah.
not as a limb achievement, it's an experience like no other.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
I mean, you're the
But-
second streamer that I've talked to about it that has said do the thing.
I do the thing as long as you're in the right mental mindset to not to look at your falling forward, right?
Yeah.
I will say that Elden Ring is probably one of the most as close to Panda games as I got, because I had someone come in and say that you need more vigor on your spellcaster, and from that moment forward, I never invested another ounce of. I never invested in ounce. The rest of the game, every boss I fought could one shot me.
a
every
true
boss.
glass cannon.
I was a true horribly, and I died a lot, and it was like I was literally just trying to find the exact point A to point B that I had to get to without taking any damage so I could win.
Yeah.
And that was it did get frustrating at times, but there were also moments of like and I would try the craziest things. I would I have a TikTok out there where I'm fighting a dragon, and it starts off with this crazy spell that it throws at you, and it comes from multiple different ways, and I found the spell that allows you to deflect it. And I remember the moment that I was like, please let this work, and it deflects it, and I'm just cheering. And at that point, I don't see the dragon take flight and breathe fire on me.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
It's like, and I was so cocky. I was like, "You've got nothing on me, dragon!" And he breathed fire. I was like, "And I'm dead." All right, okay. Hubris. All right, okay. Yep. You know, place. Understood. I'm still playing Elden Ring.
Okay. All
You
right.
say like this.
You will have those moments. It might not be that dragon, but you will have those moments. You'll find your play style. I recommend testing out all the different play styles that you want to do. And once you play your play style, stick with it. Stick with it until you're like, I'm tired of this one and I want to move to something else. But find your play style and run with that.
My main concern, and not just the difficulty in the Souls-like, but it's open world.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And every time you die, it all respawns.
It is.
All of it.
It is the first true open world Souls-like experience as well, and they did a phenomenal job with it. So, but the good news is, so let me preface this, because I say this as somebody that didn't do this. So this is don't do as I do as I say situations,
Okay.
as you will. The game has built in very simple, very obvious things that go like, hey, Lim, you made it this spot. Great job. Go this way. Maybe you should go check out here. Oh, you know what? Here, just let us give you a hand navigating the right way. Don't do what I did, which is just go squirrel and just beeline it wherever you want to.
Well, oh
It
no, you
works.
can.
You can.
If you get
can.
distracted, much like with failing forward, if you get
Yeah.
distracted, if you get lost, you still level up. You
Correct.
still become more powerful even if you get lost.
But if you want that piece of like linearness to it, and
Yeah.
not like, the game will supply that for you, but you're not required to. So it just, unless you can't, I can read, I choose not to read situations. You understand? Like,
Yes.
like that. So that's, be mindful of that. But and here's the great thing as well, because this is one of the topics you want to talk about as well today. juggling games. One
Yes.
of the big beautiful things about being in the variety space that we are, if you try it and you don't like it, you have not committed yourself to that bucket. You can always walk away.
Yeah.
Yep. And frustration. If you play frustrated, you're not going to beat the game as quickly as you could. That game also made me learn to either walk away, stand up, stretch, or put the game down for a minute. Either go do something else in the game,
Yeah.
or because I'm really vibing with the game. This boss is just I'm in my own head. I'm quicksand, right? Go do something else, or go play something else and come back to it.
Neo or Neo 2 is tougher or easier than Elden Ring?
I don't think I've played either one of those.
I have not, but from what I have, it's one of the ones, very few Souls like at this point I haven't tried. I have heard that they are on par. Some of the combat mechanics in Neo and Neo 2 are a bit more straightforward, but the experiences are very similar.
Okay. Because I have Neo and Neo 2, and I think I've tried Neo 2 a little bit. I'm tempted to see how, because my style and preferences of games have changed easily within the past 6 to 8 months. They've definitely changed. Like, I've grown in the variety of what I like or what I can play. And so I'm going to revisit some of the old ones that I was like, yep, I'm not playing that ever again. So I think that it's I try it out before I do.
I just realized I'm such a booger butt. I have the keys to the kingdom here, and I didn't even give them to you, Lim. The reason that I love Tauchi on Wuwa is because Tauchi's play style is identical to a lot of the weapon styles you can use on Elden Ring.
Oh,
it's
well,
one of the
I'm
reasons
in.
I love Tauchi. Yeah, I love Tauchi because of her play style. She literally, like, the way that her abilities work and the way she plays, that very much on par. That's why I gravitated to her immediately.
Okay.
I think you will very much, like, if you enjoy the way she feels combat wise, you're already ahead of the game.
Yeah, I know how to play her.
Yeah,
I will give you, I guess, a Wuwa reference. The holograms, the upper level holograms, is probably the kind of difficulty you're going to experience, because Wuthering Waves can have that Dark Souls vibe to it. The problem is they a lot of the stuff they add to it is time related. Like, they put time pressure on you to get through stuff, and then the boss gets harder. Where normally in Elden Ring the boss is just harder and you got to get through it. But doing, like, the max level hologram is probably on scale to what you would experience in most Elden Ring fights.
Okay. I haven't gotten to the top level holograms yet, but
I haven't either. But I've not been in that mental headspace that I want to go do that. And the difference between also Wuwa and Elden Ring is Wuwa is much more fast paced.
Yeah.
And Elden Ring is much more of methodical. I'm analyzing what's going on, and I'm reacting to what's going on to make the things work, and finding open windows to do things, where most of the time in high-end Wuwa, it is you've analyzed your build and your rotation, and you're trying to maximize that rotation while also trying to parry your dodge.
Yeah.
When you know the bosses are going to do it.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I understand that. I 1,000% appreciate that. I get it. That puts it in the language that I understand. Nice.
It's one of the reasons why I
did
Wuwa over Honkai. It's one of the reasons why I stuck with Wuwa.
Yeah.
It's because it does have some of that Dark Soul aspect to it.
I think it has more of a variety of things to do as well.
Yeah.
And without a doubt.
Yeah, that's helped keep me interested. Like I said, we want to talk about, juggling games. Like, how many games are you playing right now? Like, if you had to count, On and off stream, how many games would you say are in your regular rotation? If you have to say them out loud, that works too.
All right. League, Wuthering Waves, Once Human, now Wayfinder, New World. If I've played it within the last 2 weeks, New World, Warhammer 40K. Did we play? Has Fall Guys been one of the last few days?
No.
Helldivers 2. Or Helldivers 2. I think that's it. I probably would have played Supervive if it wasn't for Once Human.
So you're sitting around
I
7.
would say, yeah, I fluctuate between. I try to keep 3 core games and sometimes up to 10 get added in. Normally I end up playing a whole lot and then I step back and go, I'm playing too many games and I got to cut stuff out.
Yeah.
And I would be playing Final Fantasy 14 if Panda would let me on a server. So,
so we'll count that. We'll count that because that is a want to.
And then I have Battle Bits and Battlefield. I'll play those as my shooter, like anytime I get a shooter itch. I also play Diablo. Yeah. So we're sitting at around 10.
We're sitting at 10. Panda.
No.
Panda.
So we'll just go by the most recent. Is that fair? Is that okay?
Yeah, let's hit last
okay.
2 weeks. Last 2 weeks.
Okay. So League of Legends is my comfort game. So we'll start with that as number 1.
You heard that right. League of Legends is his comfort game.
League of Legends, Once Human, Final Fantasy 14, Silent Hill 2, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, Supervive, God of War Ragnarok, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Zoocosis, Fears to Fathom, Fall Guys. I'm not going to count the Plastic Duck Simulator. That feels like an easy one.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40K, Core Keeper, Lethal Company.
Last
Did you say
2
Zoocosis?
weeks.
Yeah. I think that might be it.
Did you say?
You said Zoocosis, right?
I did. Zoocosis, yeah. Technically, we also finished the first God of War in that window, so I don't know if that counts as twice or not.
Yeah.
And then Dell and Dawson Stationary Supplies. That's
You're looking at 16 games, sir.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
That's about right.
on the regular, and some of these I just finished in the last 2 weeks. Samurai Jack, through Battle Through Time, The Gunk, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Guild Wars 2, Fortnite, Overwatch, Disney Speedstorm. Just yesterday, Justice League. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. I think I played Wayfinder within the past 2 weeks. I want to say that's it because I'm also not counting Plastic Duck. I want to say that's it within the past 2 weeks. Oh no, sorry, forgot about the work streams. Also the what's the driving one? Forza Horizon 4.
Okay.
So I'm sitting
Nice.
at 12.
Nice.
How do we do it, and why do we do it?
We be gaming. As is, we be gaming.
Because we're trying to get good.
That is right.
Mine's pretty simple. I think Panda gets a lot of pressure, but mine's a lot of community pressure. Mine's fairly simple. I'm either playing something that I'm just itching to play that day, or I am playing I'm playing because it's currently something that is fairly recent, right?
Mm.
I'm probably not going to pick up New World, but I picked up New World for a couple of days just to kind of vibe and to chat with anybody who was coming in to see how they're doing and stuff like that. But I'll probably not pick up New World again. But I tend to be some of those whatever's. One of the games that'll probably be in my streaming rotation is whatever's currently relevant,
Mm.
and then the other ones will be whatever I enjoy playing at the time. Whether
Okay.
that's I want to play shooter, whether that's want to play hack and slash, something along those lines.
Yeah.
That's how I do mine. And I have ADHD, so I can just be all over the place.
Yeah. I feel it. Panda, why do you do it? How do you do it? How do you 16 games, bro?
Yeah.
Lack of sleep.
Well, so yeah, that does help a lot. It's conditioned from the bamboo office. I do not I am rarely 3 to 5 hours max of rest a day,
Ooh.
so that gives me a lot of time available to do to do things. But I try to keep things more from on stream as much as possible. So it's normally league or FF shenanigans offline. But to answer your question though, one thing that I have learned, and it's been a kind of, again, I don't want to say advice because again, I do not know what in the world I'm doing, but a recommendation that I've tried for, especially for somebody that wants to try to test the waters in like a variety space, is think less about the specific game, and more the game type or game genres or the themes
Yes.
around certain games. Because what we have done is, like, we have Scaredy Panda Sunday, where we have a day dedicated to spoopy shenanigans. So I can tackle multiple types and multiple games that I want to see within that space on a particular day. So that gives me the opportunity. Zoocosis, Silent Hill 2, Fears to Fathom. So yeah, it's 3 games, but I found a window that I was able to silo to basically check those things out.
Okay.
Fight Night
All right.
Fridays is for Sparking Zero and to get community kind of squad shenanigan kind of thing. So there's a day that gets allocated to that. Like, so I found for what works for me is finding days, because one of the dangers of being in variety is every time that it's kind of the eggs in the basket frame of reference. The more baskets that you have and the more eggs you're putting in, it looks like you have less, you're devoting less time to that particular basket. So people that you're going to be bringing into your community, it's not going to be, there's not going to be as many eggs to go around.
Right.
So
Right.
so either you have to condition people to understand that, hey, if you like these types of games and you want to enjoy these kind of shenanigans, this is when we're going to be doing them. And then you have the opportunity to try or taste the flavors of all those different kinds of games you want to, that all fall within that particular that genre, if you will. So I found that helps a lot with it, and that's what made it easier for me, because used to, what would happen is, like, we'd try to do like this like do all the things, because as you do, but then the new Dark Souls game or Souls like game would drop, and that's all I did for the entire week. And that throws people off, because if folks come in on a Friday thinking we're going to get some community games in together, we're going to have a good time, and I'm getting my face kicked in by a giant horse dude, people are going to be kind of confused, like, what is this? It does give you the opportunity to introduce a new type of game experience, but still. So I found that's one thing that helped with that immensely, is finding what works for you, to separate by either categories or whatever works for you, and find windows you slot it in, almost like meetings during a workday. That's about the easiest way to handle it.
Okay, yeah. So, like, okay, now we have a marketing meeting, but then we have a development meeting, and then we have the meal meeting. So
Exactly.
we're sliding those in, but it's still that same. All right. So would you still consider it variety if you have it set up. All right, like for instance, this is how I do it. I have a week that I've dedicated to a specific game and or game type, but normally a game. And then the next week, I am working on another game and or whatever.
Yeah, it's still variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Would you say that one can or cannot grow doing that though? Because all you usually hear is find your niche.
Right. What I and Fate, I don't let me talk because
No, you're fine, you're fine.
your perspective on this. My what I have found that helps with that is, and again, I'm not trying to broken record with it. I found that taking yourself and basically taking one step back helps with that. So, for example, when you introduce yourself, it's easy to just say, "Hey, I'm a variety content creator," but then for the entire week, you're doing a single thing. But if you take yourself a step back and say, "I'm a variety content creator who enjoys gotcha games, who enjoys Souls like, who enjoys shooters or looters," like finding like basically giving yourself your variety identity. And then when you go in and you have those windows where you're allocating to maybe one specific thing out of your pool of variety, you're not testing the waters. You're focusing on one part of that. I
Right.
found that helps, that labeling it that way helps immensely with that, because people know that when they come into your space, it's going to be one of these things for sure. It may not be all of them, but it will be at least one of them. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No,
that's always been kind of my
1000%.
perspective on it.
So, being I only have 1,500 followers, and I've been doing this for 9 years. So just so you know
I'm with you.
where I'm coming from, this as a part-time streamer, this what I've observed, what I've noticed is from more of watching other streamers, and there is no one surefire way to grow your channel that you can just apply across the board to anybody. You have to find what works for you. And if you're not enjoying it, unless you're one of those people who are in for reaction content and trying to be reactionary and people enjoy watching you just have whatever visceral reactions that you decide to have, if that's the kind of creator you are, then maybe that will fit for you. You got to find out what you want.
Yeah.
Panda's a community builder. Panda it doesn't matter what Panda has a dedicated amount of community members that will watch him play whatever he's playing, will continue bringing the good vibes, and that's a way he grows his community, because there will be other people who will be like, I really like this game, let me see what this guy's all about. Oh, this is a really fun vibe, and they may go with him to the next game that he goes and jumps into.
Yeah.
But his whole goal is community-based driven. The game doesn't really matter as much as the community and people are having fun, either watching him or learning something from him, or just they have to leave his stream better than they were when they came in. It is his goal. And then my side of things is I play what I play, and you either like it or you don't like it, right? Again, which is why I haven't really grown a whole lot. There's also a bunch of other things I haven't done, like thrown more eggs in the TikTok and YouTube basket and made videos like I probably could have with what my passion lines in. I look at a video editor and I go, I don't want to do this. I just want to play. And I don't
Which
put
is
in the work
valid. Which is completely valid.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't put in the work that needs to go into being the type of guide person that I am. But you have to find what works for you.
Right.
And then once you find what works for you, you lean into it. If you want people who are dedicated to a game, there are some people that are dedicated to a game that can grow the community from that game. I think it's much harder to be a dedicated player to a game and expect to be that number one, number two, number three spot than it is to be a variety and then try to find a game that you resonate with. that you enjoy and eventually grow that way. A lot of people they grow their community, they jump into a smaller category. I've seen that grow communities. They jump into a smaller category that not a lot of people are there. That pulls those people into the community because they're at the top of the list.
Right.
The problem with Twitch is exposure. If you're at the top of the most view list, you'll most likely get the new people who are looking into wanting to look at that game.
Yeah.
We take Revealing right now. I think he grew his community this week because he jumped in Wayfinder, and he, for the most part, has been number one in the Wayfinder community because he has a mid-size community that he brought over, and none of the larger streamers jumped onto the Wayfinder 1.0 release.
Yeah.
And I think he's brought in some people in. So looking at those potential opportunities, if that's what you're trying to go for.
Right.
But that's sort of where I'm at. I don't take my own advice, mainly because I'm also doing a full-time job on top of it, and I don't have the time.
I feel
But
you.
if I can just to compliment Fate what you're saying as well, I think that's the biggest, seeing the people that I've seen that have, since we've started, that have started and stopped, or that have ended their content creation like journey along the way. One thing that I think it's always important to remember, as you said, like making sure that whatever you're doing you're enjoying, but also why are you coming into this space? And not as from a gatekeeping perspective, but is your goal, as Faye, as you said, to be the number one Roblox dress me up competitor ever? Is that your goal as a creator? Is it to be successful, to make this a financially stable thing for yourself? Is it to be able to, again, you mentioned about growing a community, that's fine. Like, it's not sinful to basically say, I want to make this into a career.
Right.
But you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest in what effort and what your expectation is. Because as you mentioned about like niches and things like that, if you're less worried about the genres you're representing, and that variety feel, and it's more about just let me grow as quickly as possible, then you're going to spend time looking at what are those metas, what are people, where are they going, what's the next big thing. You're going to spend your effort fully focused on that, and you need to be aware, like, there's no happy medium there. Like, if growth is your goal, then there is a way to do it, but it doesn't just happen. Right. And I think people, but that's where a lot of people, what I've noticed is they get into this with the expectation of like growth isn't the focus. And I'll be completely, I'll humble myself here as well, because like it's also something I've had to struggle with as well, where you get these moments of huge upturn where you start to see growth and movement, and it's like it feels like everything is moving in a direction, but you continue, you stand by what you're doing, you continue, be it the community focus, like you don't ride the wave the direction that it's going, because it's not what you want to do, right? It's not what you set out to do. And as a result of that, eventually those upturns, it'll get static again, right? They will eventually plateau again. It happens to everybody. And I think a lot of people aren't expecting those windows of, you're going to see those upturns, but you're also going to see windows where you're not going to see that growth. If that's not what your focus is. And I think that can deter a lot of people from doing what they like, continuing to do this, because it's like, I had my chance and I didn't take it. And that's not how it works. Right. Unless that is what you are searching for. So I wanted to really emphasize kind of based on what Fate's saying, understanding kind of like why you want to make content, why you want to do this, and having that at the forefront and doing what you need to do to protect yourself to keep that at the forefront, be it is turning off your view count, doing things that like you can focus on what you're wanting to do, can make things so much smoother for you. And again, I promise I'm off my box, hats off. I wanted to just it's something that I found that people, they fall into that trap so easily of,
Yep.
oh wow, I'm starting to really enjoy this. I'm seeing the work I'm putting in paying off. But then when it doesn't pay off, it starts to have a visceral reaction, and you have to watch out for that.
Yes.
We, I the view count thing was huge. Me and like, and it's okay to have these conversations, and talk through these things. But I remember Panda and myself were looking at our view counts, and we're watching our view counts as we streamed, and you could see that when it wasn't going well, our content did not vibe as well in that moment, and it turned more people away. Which is why, like, if you end up finding yourself in that situation, maybe not monitoring how your views are going all the time will help you keep the vibe that you want to keep going and what you're trying to promote. Because if you're watching we had so many conversations on it, because we used to, like, we did a lot of analysis more in our mixer times when we would stream would end and we would spend an hour after stream going, what were the positives, what were the negatives, and we eventually found our stride and said, okay, and we stopped having to do these meetings, because I think we ended up coming to the conclusion was, we build our community because we are going to do what we enjoy doing, and people are going to gravitate towards us, and that's what we wanted. There are going to be people who sit down and have those conversations, and if you have friends to sit down and have those conversations with, they'll go, yeah, let's chase the meta, right? And there are going to be people who thrive in that chase the meta side of things, but definitely have those conversations.
And I think that's the big healthy thing to remember, that if that's your goal, then ignoring it isn't going to help you continue to move forward with that. You know what I mean? Like, do what you do to protect yourself. But and I'm glad Fate mentioned that. It is completely healthy, and it's okay to have those conversations if it is in a comfortable and it is in the right space. Like, not just going to somebody and be like, hey, this is how I'm doing, right? You don't go talk to John Doe and be like, hey man, help me. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way. And as you see some folks have, but very much like, if you like, that constructive criticism can go a long way. And it really, I think it helped me understand the space I was walking into, talking to Fate about this on Mixer, and it shined through. Like, it just, I still, the entire experience over there was just such a phenomenal, just roller coaster. And then we came to Twitch and had to start all over.
Panda also showed me networking. I didn't start networking until I started seeing Panda's behavior with how he rated out. People would come in, they'd vibe with them, people would rate him. He would take note of those people. He would go watch their streams, vibe with them, see if they have the same vibe as his community, and then those people would be the ones he'd rate out to, and he'd go in and have conversations with those communities and share his community with them, and end up a lot of the communities that we have a lot of the same people that interact with each other across multiple communities, and you'll see the same person in all the people that you enjoy watching, and they love just vibing with you, vibing with the people they're enjoying watching. It's networking was another really big one that I think once I started doing that and doing it because I wanted to share what I enjoyed streamer wise with my community, really help also solidify more of a better foundation in my community.
My network,
because you want to surround yourself with what you want your community to be.
Yeah. My friend Ed Placencia, his wife Sarah, aka Sweaty Bestie on Twitch, she has a saying. It says, "Like attracts like,"
Yep.
And when the first thing I do is like I don't traditionally network. Like I never think that I'm networking, but I'm networking.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll go into a stream and I will look at the game, right? And if I don't know the game, and this actually I did this with you, Fate. I didn't know the game, and I'll ask a question, like give me 3 reasons why I should get this game. And I think that was the one that I asked you. I was like, give me 3 reasons why I should get this game. And it's not necessarily whether I'm actually going to get the game or not. I like to see how people respond, and that will tell me whether I'm sticking around and watching for a little while.
I mean,
Yeah,
how many
that's
times
fair.
have you been streaming and you go, I just wish someone would ask me a question so I can talk. Right? Because a lot of people like, yeah, like a lot of people find it hard to just randomly talk.
Yeah.
And
No,
going
it's true,
into-
Panda. It's true.
I said a lot of people, Panda. We've already discussed how you will beat a boss with a leather shoe. So I feel like you're an exception to that rule. But when you go in and you rate other people, having a little bit of a conversation with them, engaging with their community, helping your community engage with them, really, really helps in just finding out the vibe on those people and trying to see if, is this person a good fit? Should I raid them again?
Yeah.
Do
you guys raid people you've never watched before?
Yes, sometimes. Only when I can't find someone that I've already got on my list that's playing a game that's not playing the game that I want to raid out to. Because a lot of times I like to raid out to the same game that I'm ending on.
Right.
A lot of it depends on what we're playing in most cases. Like if it's something that's like spoiler heavy territory, we're like doing like like for example, like Silent Hill 2 we're playing through. I wouldn't raid somebody playing Silent Hill 2 just at the risk of spoilers. So like and now when we finish the game, then a lot of the time we might even look at that category looking for a new friend and things like that. Like I love getting to meet new people and things like that as well. One thing that and kind of tying back to what Fate was mentioned, it's always a struggle for me because something that again, I'm just humble panda. That's just I always like somebody like especially in the Twitch space. And I actually part of this is I have an experience that has burned this into me, which is part of the reason why I think I'm so cautious now. But I've made it a point that if it's somebody new that that I'm like, if I'm trying to expand like our community, if you will, I usually want to go into a space and I don't want that person to ever even know I'm a content creator. Let me go in as a viewer. Let them. I want to get to know that person as at that level. Like I don't want that person to know anything about things from a content creator perspective because depending on everybody can do this from time to time and there's nothing wrong with it, but you put on a different set of gear when you're talking to somebody that has made it known they are a content creator versus somebody that just walks into the space and like is just vibing.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have to come in with this like is their intent behind the words, right?
Yeah.
And it's not saying that like anybody like you have to come in with armor, so to say, but like you have to be mindful that is a problem on Twitch right now. It is a very real thing. So I like to go in and as I'm like, if I see new people on my recommended channels or whatever, like I might go in there and just vibe a little bit, see how they are. And what I call panda certified basically, which is just, this is somebody that I've had a chance to see. I've seen their content. And I don't expect them to be like me, which is like unnecessarily positive all the time, or and you're Papa Panda, I'm always comforting.
Right.
I don't expect you to be that. Like, that's not what makes me go, wow, Lim is somebody that I really vibe with. But are you somebody that like either are you just you game into game, you're vibing to vibe, or are you setting a precedence in your space to make people feel uncomfortable? Like that's the thing that I look for. Just if I get an opportunity to be in here and I vibe for a little bit, and I don't see people being either basically belittled because of who they are, and like things that what you would consider red flags anywhere else, right?
Right.
Like, I don't see those. Seems like a good vibe, seem like a chill place, boom, they're on the radar for me, right? Like
Yep.
that's the kind of thing, and it makes me feel better knowing that before we were going to rate out to somebody, because then if they know that, then it doesn't matter because I didn't approach them as a creator, right?
Right.
Now, now, with that being said, that doesn't mean because we've rated people before we've never seen and whatnot as well in a category and whatnot. We'll take that chance, but I always walk in knowing that we are going in with the expectation that this is a place that I can't guarantee everybody being dropped off will have a comfortable time.
Yes.
So I will always put that precedent before I rate out to say, hey, we're going to go meet somebody new, could be a new friend. We're going to go and let's just go show some support. And but I set that boundary on my side to say, we are walking into uncharted territory. That way, if it is somebody that ends up being a booger butt, like, it's not a case that like I have purposely led folks to there, and I just
Right.
know if they are, I just know not to do it again, and then we move on from there. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's
No.
always been kind of like, I think it is a healthy thing to pursue and look at other folks to, like, basically rate out to, especially if you just rate to people then it becomes a very big circle very quickly, or it just becomes a circle very quickly. But just you have to make sure you set those protections for yourself, if that makes sense.
When Panda's trying to rate out to when he's playing a story one, you have a set group of people that are always a great vibe, always hype, or always bringing amazing positivity. When you're not picking within the same category, a lot of times I've noticed.
And it gives us an opportunity to introduce to people like, oh, hey, we're playing this terrifying, oh, everything's ooga booga scary. Oh, let's go watch somebody play Polya. And it's like, huh? And it's like, and it can be such a
It's
tone
a jar.
shift, but the person brings like the similar vibe. So, and it kind of ties back to a point earlier, Lynn, we were talking about that it proves that the community vibe, or the experience that you're building, it can supersede the game and experience that are there, because there'll be people there that'll be vibing that we're just getting the bamboo scared out of them, but are just big vibing in Polya because it still feels the same, even though the energy's different.
Yeah. So I got to tell you guys, for the average of most of the episodes, we're about 30 minutes over, and
we can talk forever.
And I expected it, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Which is why, folks, these guys are going to be regulars.
Oh,
we're gonna have a part 2. We'll have a part 2 and a part 3,
and a part 8. Hopefully,
he locked the doors.
Yeah, man.
You have questions for
leave.
us?
We are.
Give them your questions. We'll answer.
Yeah. Look.
We'll talk forever on them.
Look, we will. You guys know. Most of you guys know where to find me, but speaking of rating out. Where can we raid people? Where can people raid to for you?
You can find me hanging out in Bad Gamer Elite's channel on twitch.tv.
Go darn it, sir!
He beat me to it. He beat me to it.
and using my free Prime sub on Professor
There it
Panda
is.
at Twitch.tv. It's so weird that I hate shouting myself out. I've always viewed myself as a co-pilot streamer. I enjoy enhancing other people's streams. That is my passion when it comes to
And you can see this enhancement on twitch.tv/Fatewalker. FATEWALKER. Got him.
Oh my god!
If you drop by my channel and you enjoy the vibes, I would love to see you there.
Look,
and don't feel obligated to be there.
See, and this is why we stay there. This is where we go. We sit. We stay. You guys, seriously, go follow these gentlemen. You will hear them regularly on this podcast. This is because originally this podcast was going to be. This is what it was going to be. It was just going to be us talking every time, and then we ran into scheduling problems, and then life happened. I was like,
life
okay,
happens. Yeah.
If I don't start this podcast now, it is never going to happen. So, guys, what I'm going to do is I want to get some guests going on, but I want you guys to be regulars. And we actually have a fourth person that will be joining us at some point, but we will leave that for that. So number one, go follow these guys. B, be part of a great community over on their channels. And C, I want to thank everybody for listening in. This is probably the longest episode we've had so far. And it has been a roller coaster of emotions and education and I don't just laughter and joy. It was a lot.
If you made it to this end of the podcast, thank you guys for listening in. We appreciate you guys, and hopefully you learned something.
Yeah.
Or laughed.
And use code BAMBOO for a free Papa Panda.
And as they say, you guys, what were we talking about?